I've long lived by the saying, if something sounds too good to be true, well, it usually is. I mean, people nowadays will just tell you anything to get your money, won't they? And sometimes they'll make outrageous promises, things that just even defy physics in some cases. And in those times, I usually say, well, beware. But as I've witnessed technology and the advancements, plus the manufacturers and this new breed of consumer that is so demanding and willing to pay for those demands as well, there's nowhere where the line is blurred any more than in the sports saloon segment. This is where they're promising two-door sports car performance in a luxury vehicle. Sounds too good to be true? Well, yes, it does. Because it's very, very rare that you can put two polarizing concepts to exist in one place. When that does happen, it can be a real beautiful thing.
Hi there, welcome to Drive. I'm James Deakin, and on today's episode, we've got something very special lined up for you. You see, just say you've got a spare 10 or 15, okay, let's call it 20 million lying around. You're sick of buying apartments because everybody's got one. You're now looking for a super sports sedan. There are plenty in the market, but which one deserves your cash, right? That's why we decided to set out, not just here, but across the entire globe into another continent to check out two different, very special models for you. One is the Porsche Panamera Gran Turismo car, very controversial in design, but universally accepted as one of the, if not the, best performing sports sedan out there in the market. If there's one car that's going to compete for it, say what you like about it, but this one pretty much started the segment off. It's the Maserati Quattroporte. And we've got it right here at Batangas Racing Circuit. We're going to do this in two separate countries, two awesome vehicles on one incredible episode of Drive. A lot of the magic of the Panamera happens here, the stuff you really don't see, and it's a choice of materials that they use. It's about 30% aluminum and the rest is high tensile steel. Now, the thing is, it's good news and bad news. There is weight savings, but they've used up all of that allowance that they've saved in weight by adding more features. So the net result is it's still the same weight when you drive it, but you get a lot more goodies. But let's take a closer look now at the powertrain. Now, to understand the whole powertrain system, it's best to sort of peel off all the skin and look underneath. Now, it's not the most attractive thing to look at. It looks a little bit like a cart full of groceries, really. There's nothing glamorous or sexy about it. But this is, of course, a 4-liter V8 engine, super powerful, the most powerful engine they've ever put in the Panamera. Everything here that you see in red, that's all part of the hybrid system. So come a little closer here. I'm going to show you how it works. You see how it's perfectly integrated. You've got the double clutch gearbox over here, and then it's mated to the electric motor over here. So these things combined give you a combined power of 680 horsepower and 850 newton meters of torque. But this is where the bulk of it all exists. This is the battery right here. So all the weight there is in the back. They've split up the weight distribution so it still handles brilliantly. But what really blew me away is the braking system. This thing here is absolutely monstrous. It's the biggest braking system they put in any Porsche in the history of the brand. 440 millimeters of carbon ceramic disc. Then you've got the 10 piston calipers over here. It's massive, and they need all of the 21-inch rim just to be able to house that. And just look at this, the diameter of the rim here. It's 275, 35, 21. You get a really good rolling resistance. So everything here is like a concert. It's a ballet in a way of trying to balance everything out. Comfort, economy, performance, all of those conflicting qualities are all coming in to produce what they call the Panamera Turbo E-Hybrid. first track test of the Panamera Turbo S Hybrid, and it's not a very large track, but I tell you what, this car is massive, but it's behaving like a two-door sports car. I don't know what they've done right now to this suspension. Oh, God. The feeling, it's so rewarding because it's just so instant. Everything you need to do is just absolutely on the button. Trail brake into this one. This is something, I can feel the back end. It uses air suspension with 3 different chambers. So the way that it reacts with the 4-wheel steering, it's a point and shoot machine. So the 4-wheel steering right now is biting. The way it does it, at 60 kilometers and under, the wheels turn in opposite directions. We're never at 60 or under. With the Porsche active suspension management, oh, got a little bit off there, but that's the kind of electronics, how quickly they react. So even if I go out a little bit, lose it a bit, the way it bounces back, the way it recovers is just brilliant. It's like Wolverine. It heals itself. As you're coming down here, the way it eats up the main straight is absolutely phenomenal because you got all that horsepower. But this is the magic. In a straight line, brake hard, 440 millimeters of ceramic discs with 10 pistons. The way it bites in, even when the car is fully loaded and the car is supposedly at the edge, it still reacts like it's fresh, like it was just born to do this.
When we talk about the Porsche Panamera, this is probably the most equal counterpart that you can get. They don't really come any richer in history than the Maserati Quattroporte. And you can't just say Quattroporte, you have to say it with your fingers, eh? It was developed actually to be able to cruise at super high speeds in a 4-door saloon. So it was one of the first cars in the world at the time to be able to do over the 200 mark, 250 mark. Then it just developed this huge cult following. I mean, this was the kind of car that you had to be an oil baron or something like that to be able to own. So the prestige surrounding it is just totally immense and epic. You've got Porsche, which comes in from a complete sporting standpoint that just is all pure business, you know. This here, it goes first through your heart before it enters your brain. That's the channel that it likes to go through. That's what this segment's all about, by the way. It's about this exclusivity, and that's what makes it so expensive, but it also makes it such a joy to be in because you know you're breathing some very rarefied air in this car. Boy, does it smell good with these beautiful leather seats. Then you've got these awesome trimmings that they do. The entertainment system, very clear sort of dials over here. You've got the center display, which is all virtual. You can sort of shift that around a bit. The tachometer and speedometer are totally fixed and analog. Maserati chose to keep that old school, just like they do with their clock over here. I love the choice of wood, by the way. It's dark, it's real, to just make you feel like you're cocooned into your own little private world. Everything you touch, everything you smell, the seating position, just the way this car makes you feel. It takes 10-15 years off your age for a start. And for a Tito like me, that's real precious. That's a fairly long drive to get to Batangas. Well, fairly long is relative, isn't it? I mean, it's a couple of hours to get to San Juan or the racetrack, etc. What I'm getting at is enough to build up an appetite. If there's one thing that Batangas is known for outside of balisongs and beaches, well, like any place in the Philippines, it's a cuisine. If you really want to sample the traditional Batangas cuisine or Batangueño cuisine, you would probably, I think, have a safe bet at the oldest restaurant they have here in Batangas. There it is, there it is. Just pull in and grab something to eat.
Tanwanam Restaurant. Hi, is this the oldest restaurant in Batangas?
Yes.
I found it. Cool.
Welcome to Tanwan.
Are you the owner?
Yes.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm
Okay,
James.
thank you.
So, what's your specialty here?
Pancit, lumpia Shanghai, and then fried chicken. We have the different how to cook it, and then we have chop suey.
Uy, okay. So this is like the oldest restaurant still standing in Batangas.
Yes, and we are
How
already
old?
60 years.
Ooh, wow.
We inherited it from our parents, and then the second generation.
I'm really looking forward to the food. I've heard so much about this, so just keep the food coming.
Okay.
That's the best.
Okay.
Just keep it coming. Another thing that was super important with the Maserati Quattroporte is the extended long wheel base of this car. This car was designed for captains of industry, remember? So it was always designed to put equal sort of pleasure to both the front and the back. Most of the time, the owner would be sitting in the back. When that person transferred here, it had to give them an equal satisfaction. To find something in between, that takes talent, because it's not just about the engineering, it's about the understanding of the brand and of the core values of the brand, and Maserati have nailed it right there perfectly in the center. Batangas is one of the fastest growing provinces around, and this place has been booming for, well, quite some time now. And also, if you're heading to the racetrack and stuff, people need a place to stay, so they've opened up these new resorts, like this new Rosario Hotel Resort. It's not just there for people who want to come over and stay and be closer to, well, going to the racetrack or like we are. Also, apparently the locals are also enjoying it because of the pretty big swimming pool it's got there. So they can come here and just cool off in this nice big pool. Part of what made Maserati Maserati were some of the flaws and the imperfections. That's what gave it its character. It's like listening to the scratches on a vinyl record, or seeing the sort of flair or the grain on an old film photograph. So when they partnered up with Ferrari and Daimler Chrysler and all this, they started adding in all the stuff that, well, was expected of modern cars. They threw in a ZF 8-speed gearbox. This thing is probably overkill for what we need over here, but I'll tell you this much, it does help a lot with fuel consumption. We're at 100 kilometers an hour exactly, and I'm doing 1300 revs. It's idling at 100 kilometers an hour. And with Ferrari's partnership, especially with the engines, they were able to retain the soul, and the soul is activated usually by your right foot. Let's drop it down. Oh. Now we're in the V6 model. If you're in the V8 model, this thing would be just tearing through, but the V6 has plenty more power than you're probably ever gonna have to use out here. Definitely in the Philippines, you're gonna need something like a racetrack to be able to get this out of its comfort zone. That's what you need to do. I've been coming to Batangas for a really long time now, especially the racetrack. You know, this is where we do most of our testing, or at least used to in the past. I've never known them to have this big statue of Jesus a la Rio de Janeiro style. You can't really miss it, I'm told, because it's pretty big. Ah, there it is. Well, he's certainly looking down on all of us over here. Now, apparently you can get a lot closer than we are, but it'll take you 311 steps to walk up there. I'll take their word for it. That is pretty impressive, you gotta admit. Well, we're finally here at Batangas Racing Circuit, and this is the perfect place to end the test. I'll tell you why. You see, this car over here was born for the open road. Long trips, which we've just done from Manila to Batangas. Now, it all ends up here. Everything we've done up until then, well, a luxury car can do. And what separates this from the rest of the luxury cars is it can perform on a racetrack, just like the Panamera did in Canada.
Now this place has been around since the late 90s. It was the home of Philippine motorsport. Many will still argue, despite its age, that this has more character than Clark International Speedway, which of course is a lot more modern, got better facilities, etc. But when it comes to actual driving, it's the imperfection, kind of similar to what I was talking about before with the Maserati. It's in the flaws. That's where all the character is born. So we're going to throw it around here. We're going to see if this car can really live up to the hype. Being a super sport sedan, we're going to put this to the test on the Batangas Racing Circuit official drag racing strip. There's 400 meters separating me and Pure Glory over here. We're going to do this together. 3, 2, 1, and we're off. It takes off a little slow, I'll have to admit, but it shifts right on 6,800, and boom, that's it. We're already at 100. What am I talking about? I thought we were going to be here for a while. Haha, we're now at 140, 160. 180. Okay. Gotta break. Now we actually have a lot more to go, but I'm just doing it in the 400-meter zone. Not bad, 180 in that short time. Remember, this thing here takes a family of 5 with luggage. This is pretty impressive. Next up, we're gonna try the brakes. That's usually where it really has to work its hardest because of all that weight, all the luxury, all the leather. So let's see if Maserati have been able to outsmart some of that with some of their technology. You better hold on wherever you are because things can get pretty messy. We're going to try it on 3, 2, 1, and yeah, it could do it a little bit more just in the beginning. It's just that little bit. Oh, it's got some power. 100, 120. 130, 150, 160, 180. Son of a pure Woohoo! So I really stomped on that one. Impressive because there wasn't a whole lot of dive. Sometimes if you're not controlled, the back tends to swing out. That's when you have real dramas. We didn't have that here. It was as composed as you would probably get in a standard sports car. I'm pretty impressed. Okay, so we've done the acceleration, which is pretty impressive. We've done the braking, which was very impressive. It's now time to stitch everything together in a handling course. So let's go. Once again, spools up. Takes a little while to spool up, get the power in there. But you know what? You know it's accelerating. It may not make a lot of noise about it, but it is certainly reflecting on the speedometer. We're down to about 160 here. I'm going to brake at the 150 mark. Oh, wow, that is a lot there. I love the way it's downshifting. You can hear this poof, poof, poof. As I accelerate out, let the car sort of ease the steering out. It has a nice way of sort of shifting its weight, even when you're going on the outside. I'm going to hit the brakes really hard here. Very tight corner. At least I don't have to cross my arms over. There's enough steering ratio in there to not have to double cross over. I'm floored right here. It's going all the way to 6,800 reps. This is where handling is super important because you're balancing the car. It's wet. Ooh. Okay, I just eased off a little bit there and chickened out a bit because I didn't want any dramas in this final corner. Okay, I go a little bit wide. Finish line. And we're gonna cross the line. Yes! That was awesome. You know what? It was only after pushing it really hard you start to feel that the brakes are starting to get a little bit, well, I guess they have to heat up a lot because it's carrying a lot of weight. But handling is just dynamic. It's really, really good. Normally with heavy cars, you feel it fighting back. And this one wasn't doing that. This one was like enjoying it. It seemed to like it. I have to say, full props. They've done a great job with this.
And there you have it, 2 of the finest sports saloons on the planet today. Hope we've been able to help you out with that 15 to plus million peso problem. If not, well, We pray that you one day have a problem just like this, because you know what? These are the kind of first world problems that don't get nearly enough media attention, which is kind of good for me, because otherwise how would I be able to justify flying over to Canada to test one and another one here in Batangas? So I guess we're all even there. But more than just these two cars on this day, which has been a pretty epic day, sun's gone down here in Batangas, it's been perfect. It's also been an incredible year. And I just started to flash back. I mean, it was only in 2017 where Drive took on a whole different turn. Started out with a new team. I was nervous as hell. I had to take an immense leap of faith with a brand new team. And well, they had to take the same leap of faith with me. But together, we were just telling each other, just don't break it. You know, it's been an immense, awesome ride getting over here. But what makes this ride so incredible is that you guys have been steering the show. I may be in the driver's seat, but it's through your messages and through your emails and contacting me through Facebook, through Instagram, my website, etc., that this has been shaping the show. Some of the highlights were, started out with that hovercraft there in Bel Air. We did the Jeep Wrangler as well. Remember, the BMT episode was absolutely awesome. And then there was Russ Swift, made a grown man cry on national television. But it was one of those episodes that really sort of dug deep into the passion of motoring. And then we started out with a few little crazy things. We had little comedy sketches there. The Minis in Baguio, we had the Lotus. There was also the Sangyong Tivoli, which I think started that all out. But it's all been a lot of fun. We're trying out different things. And I just can't wait to see what 2018 has in store, what you guys have planned for us, because at the end of the day, it's you what makes the show. So we're just here, well, basically to fill up the driver's seat and have a little bit of fun for you. So on behalf of the entire Drive team, who happen to be all behind me, drive safely, everyone. Come on, guys. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.